episode 9 of the first season. So before we go in, we're making some changes, working on our tech here. Season 2 is going to start in a few weeks, in about 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm excited for that. We got some really awesome guests finishing out this season. Today I have Craig Miller.
Yeah. What's up?
Miller.
What up?
He said I need to do some kind of consistent intro when I come through. You know? I was thinking I'll sing. This is Astroville.
There you go.
We're coming to your town.
I like that.
You ain't playing around. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'll figure it out. So you look good, man.
Oh, hey, thank you. You
got
too.
That Lion of Judah shirt on?
Yeah.
That's Chris Bell.
Yeah, that's Chris Bell. Hey, shout out to Chris Bell. Thank you for the shirt. Yeah.
So Edwin couldn't make it today.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be 2. I'm gonna be 2 and 1. You know what I mean?
Representing Iron Man.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's why I should have worn my Iron Man shirt though.
Yeah.
So I'm slipping. That's
I don't even know what it says.
That's all good. I don't know what it says either.
Yeah, I like this shirt though. It's comfy.
But yeah, I'm ready to get it in though. Whatever you wanna.
Me too. So I guess our thread, we've been talking on fatherhood, right?
Yeah.
Fatherlessness. And we talked about in our little WhatsApp chat for this for our little group here, the role of the father or the male in the home.
Yeah. Man, that's a big topic there. I mean, I can go so many different ways, but let me start here.
Okay.
I think we cannot lie and not say that we don't see the impact or the effect of it not being there, right? So I think when we talk about a subject, it's easy for people to be like, well, I don't see that, or how could you emphasize on that so much? And it's not saying that there's a...
What do you mean people say I don't see that?
Or they may say, hey, well, I guess more like, why must you emphasize on the male?
Right.
Because I think that's it's not a shot to the women. It's not saying, hey, women are not important.
Right. Especially with the feminist movement.
Right.
It's like, okay, men had their shot, they had their glory.
Right, they missed it.
Now it's all women.
Right, you know? But I don't want to say, hey, this is the shot of them. But I think you can see the impact and the implications of what happens when there is a lack of male leadership or father.
So not just male presence, but male leadership.
Right. Presence, right. You could be present and not present. So it can't be just, leadership is active. It's I would say, I like to say it's an art form, right? Leadership is an art in how you handle and deal with people, right? It's why Solomon asked for wisdom. He didn't ask for money. When God came to him, he didn't say, hey, give me all the money, give me the riches. He said, give me the wisdom so that I can lead your people. Because you have that wisdom and understanding to know how to do that. Because he understands it's gonna be difficult to deal with different kind of people, different kind of personality, different kind of situations, people backgrounds, and you have to have that kind of wisdom again and using the art form of how do I lead. So I think leadership is important. I think everyone and most people need leadership.
Yeah,
right?
you need leadership, and one thing that I found out, because since I was a youngin, I always had leadership qualities.
Okay.
But one thing I found out, I had a lot to say about leadership. Growing up, like, man, they should be doing this. They could do this better. If they would have done this, it would have
correct.
Yeah. But they're screwing up here and they're lacking here. I had a lot to say about leadership because I was a natural born leader. The thing is, I wasn't a good leader. There's a difference between being a leader and being a good
leader. Right, yeah.
So that's one thing I started to learn when I started taking leadership roles, that I was like, dang, okay, I got the qualities, but I'm not doing this right. And there's a way to lead. There's actually a book. It was really, really impactful, and I'm trying to remember. It's called Laws of Leadership, I think.
Are you talking about John Maxwell?
Yes.
Yeah, Law of Leadership. He talk about the lead, right, the potential. Yeah, that's a good one, the Law of Leadership.
That's a very, very good book.
Yes.
Another very, very good book is 7 Habits of Highly Effective.
I've got that one too. Yeah, I read that one too. That's a good one.
That book was like everything that I felt in my soul that I couldn't put into words.
It's one of those things. It's one of those what you call a game changer. Yeah. Like you read that, you're like, okay,
that will change your whole paradigm.
Yes. He even talks about the paradigm, right? Yeah, he talks about how you need to change, how you need to. I think the biggest thing he talks about is how people they do things in urgency. Right. He's saying how you need to prioritize and do things in a orderly, organized way. But most people, when they're working and when they're doing things as a leader, you're always working in urgency.
Right.
And now you're doing the things that you have to do when you really could have just been doing the things that you need to do if you actually prioritize the way you actually do the things you're supposed to do.
Right.
And then not work from an urgency state, but you actually already have it planned, organized, is laid out. I mean, come on, that's effective.
It really is. And it's like, it's funny how it's like not really common knowledge. Or maybe it was in the past, but the way our culture has brought us up, it's like it teaches us differently. You know, when I learned about paradigm, I was in high school. And when I heard the word paradigm and had someone explain it to me, I was like, wait a second. One more time now. It's what? And so they're describing to me that there's a lens that you view reality. It's not the same as everybody else's. And I was like, what? Not everybody sees what I see.
Right.
Like we're all seeing different things. I was like, whoa, and that really changed everything.
No, you're right.
It helped me to understand that I could change my paradigm, and I could control how I'm seeing the world. And deciding how you're going to see the world affects everything that you do.
Correct. But I think I think that's a good point. So even with that, but there is something that we have that really is supposed to shape and affect and impact our world, or how we see the world, right? We have, I think, especially as Christians, we have something that's supposed to shape our paradigm. That's supposed to allow our paradigm to line up with the ultimate paradigm, which is God. Right, which is God, right? So the word of God is supposed to shape that and mold it so that way you see and you look and your paradigm becomes to be like what God calls to be. So I think that kind of goes back to like male leadership here. So why do I say male leadership is important? Or why do I say leadership in home is important? Because I think the Bible speaks on it. The Bible calls males and men to stand up and lead their home. So I was thinking about this. So if you read 1 Timothy.
Did you fix that?
Oh, you fix it up?
Yeah, just tilt it a little
down.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so if you look at 1 Timothy, right? 1 Timothy says, it says that an overseer or pastor, whatever you want to call him, overseer, bishop,
deacon,
right? Well, not deacon. So this is an overseer, right? This is a person who's actually like leading the churches, right?
Okay, so before you do that, help me to understand the hierarchy of church leadership. Biblical church leadership.
Well, the way I see it is, it should be it should be a plurality of elders. I think it should be a plurality of elders, and then you should have elders, deacons, and then
the elders, the overseers, are the ones that have been in the game for a while.
Right. They know what they're teaching. They're leading. They're shaping the church. They're doing
and the deacons
those are like servants. So they're like taking care of the building. They're taking care the people's needs, right? They're taking care. They're doing all the other things that I guess the elder or the overseer. And the overseer is really just someone who actually has really how they count it as people who have multiple churches or have multiple, like Paul would be considered an overseer. Right. Why? Because he had multiple churches. He was a church planter, right? So you say as an overseer.
He was also a culture subverter.
Right, all that kind of stuff. But so he would be considered an overseer. Okay. But even in the context, you can see that, okay, in order for you to lead church, he says that, hey, look, in order for you to lead church, you need to manage your household well. So the scripture says, a man must manage his household well, right? And his children must be submissive. And he says, if he's not, how could he care for the church? Like, how could he lead God's people if he can't even lead his household? Which makes sense to me.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because how could you, if you can't lead the people that are arm's length from you, that are supposed to be your blood, that are supposed to be the people you love, how are you supposed to love or lead the people that you really have nothing to, like, you have no kind of connection with? Or you don't, it's harder for you to care for them because they're not connected to you.
It seems like, in my experience, the leaders in church that had a mess of a home,
right,
were something like a facade in ministry.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's like they couldn't handle home, and so their excuse is ministry.
Right. So they skip that. It's like, well, that's what you see. You see a lot of people skipping that part, and they say, okay, well, look. And I think they don't really see that as that important, right? Or it's like, well, my wife is taking
ministry is more important.
There you go. Ministry is more important than my family, which I've seen. Like now, your kids grow up and they hate ministry because you kind of left ministry for the kid. You chose ministry over your children.
Also, look at the New Testament church in Acts. They were meeting in homes.
Correct.
So it wasn't this big separation between ministry and
home. That's right.
It was really integrated.
Yeah. I mean, you even saw it even with Silas and Paul, right? So remember after they broke out of the jail, right? They broke out of the jail. They basically, they worshiped, then they went to the jailer. Remember? They went to his crib. They went to his house, right? And then they said, "Hey, you saved, and your whole family saved." Again, You see again the whole household. Again, they went to Lydia's house. They went to her house. Boom, she got saved. The whole family got saved. So again, you see the idea that people are meeting their house because the idea is if I can change the household, I can change the male leadership in the home, then I can change the household. Again, I think you change the household, you change the church, you change the community. I think, again, like I said before, I think it's a concentric circle. Like you work from the inside out, right? You work from your house outside, like.
But if you said concentric.
Yeah, so basically
what does that word mean?
So concentric means like a circle where you start from the middle, and then you work your way out.
Spiral out. Okay.
Right.
So that's a really great point. So really, before you can manage your house, you have to manage your soul.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, you got to be. I would say you got to be in God. I guess even
God, but not only in God, but you have to have had your mind renewed and you have, like, if you can't control, if there's no self-control.
Correct.
Then
Yeah.
how are you going to
control? Yes.
And not control in a manipulative way.
I got you, man.
As
discipline.
Yes. So it starts within. Then it starts within the family.
Right.
Then it starts within and I think this is also a paradigm shifter right here. We were talking about that the church and the family was integrated.
Correct.
In the book of Acts. Now, I think what we've done is we've integrated ministry with business.
Correct. Yes.
So the modern
yeah.
Instead of having been integrated with the family, it is integrated into a business.
That's good. Yes.
Type of setting. So it's completely compartmentalized.
Right.
And that's why pastors, teachers, preachers, prophets.
That's their job now.
All these, exactly.
That's they're professionals now. I know. I'm with you. Paradigm
needs to get slapped right now.
Hey,
I don't know who.
That's because it's a profession. It's not one and the same. And I think it goes back again because of we got away from that paradigm of male leadership in the home. Like you need to start here. Like if you can't do this here, like holding dudes accountable, right? As a man, like as a father, if you can't do this here, I can't have you out here, right? I think that's in any.
That's like step one. It's kindergarten.
Right. Yeah. It's like I need you to. Can you manage the two children, the wife and the people you have here? I mean, in your little house, I just need you to manage them here. And then once you do that well, or if I see you doing that well, now you can come over here.
Because it seems like they'd be like, well, they're good over there. They're good. I want to come over here though, and it's more of an escape.
Right. Or they, like I think like you said before, or they think it's more important.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to even with that book we were talking about, priority. If that's more important to you, like that's what you're gonna go after. Or here it is. Or I think from a God perspective, I think they're doing the work of God. Like this is ministry, or this right here, and this is something I always have to kind of, even for myself. It's hard to do the thing that no one sees. I think that's the hard part. When we talk about male leadership, is because no one sees that. You're not at my house all day, are you? No, you're not there 24/7, right? You're not, right? I'm just saying you're not there. So, but if I'm out here talking and preaching, you can see that. So you're like, oh man, he must be. Oh, he's a godly man. He must. But you can't see the stuff that I'm doing in the house. You see? Yeah. So that's why that's why the temptation for man is to go that way instead of saying, no, let me leave my house. Let me make sure they good. Let me do this right and do this well and do this with all my fervor and do it with excellence. so that my children now they can change. And they'll change generations, and now my children will be changed, right? That's the whole point, right? Change generations, subdue the earth, right? As they do that, but because this is a bigger stage and this is a bigger thing, it's just like you just said, it's a profession. I want to go ahead and do this, and now you actually missing it because God is really working through your family by you doing that, by you changing your children's lives, by you impacting them and teaching them the word of God, by you being there for them. You actually are transforming generations. You're actually doing great work, because now if I got 4 kids and they all transform, I got three sons, they all transform, then they had 3 sons and they transform. You see? But you don't see it like that because you're looking for the here and now. You're looking for, I need to be out here doing this because this just looks.
And then you get your recognition, and there's your entire reward.
There you go. Come on.
You get no other reward.
You get no other reward. That is your reward.
So if you're in leadership and you haven't got your house right, step down.
Right, that's right.
So I got a confession to make.
Go ahead.
I haven't been leading very well. So I've been like working hard, right?
Okay.
I've been taking care of my children, and I've been trying to be the father that I would want if I was my children.
Correct, yeah.
And try to lead, and I feel like I'm doing the father thing well.
Okay.
But I've been slipping on the husband area.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all feel of that. I mean, I follow that all the time too. I think that's always up there. But I think as long as you're making the attempt and you're trying, I think that's where you go, because you're not perfect.
But I was trying, and the thing is like I was being the husband that I think that she would need instead of being the husband that she
wants. Yeah.
And what she needs is a man that's gonna pray with her all the time.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And I was we were over there at Will's house, and they were giving some great advice and helping us. And because we've been on some tough areas and some roadblocks that's been very challenging.
Yeah.
Because to die and become one with another person.
Yeah.
You got to be humble, and you got to be willing to give up everything.
Yes, sir.
And you got to be willing to accept them for who they are and not for who you want them to be.
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of like, let me let you take care of your spiritual walk. And I'm going to take care of mine. Yeah. And hopefully we can come together. And it's good. But I haven't been actively leading the spiritual lifestyle in my home. And it's difficult for me because honestly, I struggle to see what that looks like. But when I'm around other men of God, like especially in their homes, I get to see it more.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't look like the manifestation of what my home would be if I was the fullness of fatherhood. And being a husband. And and so Will told me something that really it really cut me. He was talking about I should every single day I need to have fresh bread for my wife. Fresh word. And that means that I've got to be cultivating my
spiritual,
and my spiritual eyes and spiritual ears to daily be seeing and hearing what is God saying today. And bring that to my wife. And one thing I always
have you read with her before?
Huh?
Have you ever read the Bible with her before?
Yeah, and it's not super common. Like we do it maybe 2, 3, 4 nights a month right now, and we've had stretches where it was every night, but
I mean, nobody. It's hard to do. You got kids. There's no way. Yeah. I mean, even me.
Especially after working all day and then going and being with the kids and then
I'm with you.
And then and then you're in bed and it's like, man.
But consistency doesn't mean. I think sometimes we think consistency means every day. Doesn't mean every day. So even for you, I mean, and I'm just being because even for myself, I pray with my wife and I try to, I read with her and we do a lot, but and I try to remind myself, consistency doesn't mean every day. It means that you're just consistently doing it. It's not 6 months and you haven't done it, but if you're doing it consistently and you're trying to do that, I think that's what God requires. That's what God wants you to do. He doesn't, because we're not perfect. We got I got 4 kids. You think that every night we can sit and read, like she be falling asleep, I'm falling, like we all, like we tired, ain't nobody. But I think there is times we do, and there is areas that I feel it too. Like, yeah, it may not be praying and it may not be reading, but I feel in areas where, my words may not be always good. You know what I'm saying? Like I got, my I don't think before I speak. So a lot of times my words are what gets me in trouble. My mouth get me in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Same boat, bro.
Right. So sometimes it's not me. So for me, I have to work on that. And I have to, like you said, die. So I have to think before I speak. I have to be more sensitive. I have to think before I say something and
females are sensitive, bro.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I'm not going to just say all females. I mean, because I'm a little sensitive too. So I'm not going to say females because I'm a little sensitive too. But I think sensitive in specific areas. Again, I think we're all sensitive, just depending on the area we sensitive in. You know what I'm saying? Like you may be sensitive areas that, if she says certain things in a certain way, it may get to you because that's the area where you sensitive at.
Yeah,
so
I think that is exposing an area of insecurity.
Maybe that could be, yeah.
Because I mean, it depends on how you define sensitivity, but it seems
I guess
to me that if someone says something that makes you feel a certain type of way, then you're probably insecure in that area.
Maybe, yeah, I would say that. Maybe, or maybe you are saying something harsh. It could be both. Right? I think we don't know because I'm not you, or like it, or you really could be saying something harsh. Like your wife could be saying something, or you could be actually saying something that's harsh to her that you shouldn't probably say. And same thing with me. I could be. Like, just because I say something hard or say something to her and she's sensitive, but doesn't mean that she's insecure. It just means that I'm really not being the man of God I should be and using my words for life and not death. You know what I'm saying? And speaking life against, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually speaking death against her or something like that. So it may not be that. So I think that's something where, for me, kind of like you, I got to feel like that's where I'm kind of falling short, where I feel like I should be using my words better. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I do pray with her.
Being an encourager.
Being an encourager, yeah. Like,
I think that you can, if you look at the children and you look at the wife, you can see inside the soul of the man.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
I think whatever's inside the man is going to manifest in the rest of the family.
That's true. I see that. I agree with you on that.
And there's been seasons where I just see my wife bloom. I haven't seen that a whole lot lately. And that is a reflection of what I'm giving to her.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, hey, look, man, I've been struggling with the encouraging thing for a while. And I think for me, too, just kind of, and you probably agree with, like, just being sensitive to, like, where they at, too. Like, when I talk about leading, and again, this goes back to if you working on it, and I'm not saying that you got to be perfect in these areas, but you should be striving in these areas, because I can't have you striving in these areas. If you're not striving in these areas, and then you come into church, and then everything we talking about, you should be doing with other people. That's the point we're making, right? That's the connection. The way you feel about your wife and like, hey, I need to be an encourager and pray. That's the same way you need to be about these people in here. Like, these people here in church are not just for you to preach to and talk to so they can just be like, no, they're relying, if you're leading them, they're relying on something from you. And I'm not saying that it's all about you giving them something, but I'm saying that the same way as a leader, and I mean, even me as a military person, and if I'm leading my airmen, they need something from me because I'm their leader. They're looking at me for something. So if you can't have that same heart for the people at your house, how can you have that same heart for the people here? You just can't.
Yeah. Like,
those two things, you're going to just manipulate and use the people here the same way you're using and manipulating the people at your house. Mm-hmm. I think that, and if we don't get men to kind of really see that, I think what you're saying, like the paradigm shift of saying, hey, you need to take care of your house. Like, you need to make sure your wife and your children, if you don't have those, again, going back inside out, you need to be making sure yourself is straight. Right?
Right.
Because we said it's you first. Mm-hmm. Then if you get married, then it's your wife, then your children. But if you don't have neither one of those, then you need to be making sure as a man that you're preparing yourself to lead some people. Because if you're not, and you're just running around like just doing whatever, and you're not preparing your heart and your mind to be sensitive to things, lead, and know when to pray, and know when to give people word, and know when to get in the Bible. If you're not preparing your heart and your soul for that,
then you're just a kid.
You're just a kid. And you're just using pastoral and eldership or whatever as a way for you to feel like somebody. That's really what it comes down to. And that's why you see a lot of pastors do it, because they're just using it as a way to feel like somebody. Because I want to feel like I'm doing God's work. But you just can't. But you can't. You gotta work on that heart. That heart gotta be. I mean, that's the scripture. I mean, that's Tytus, right? That's Tytus 1. What are you telling them? Hey, I need you to work on your character. I need you to not be this. I need you to work on these things. I need you to be, a person of love and giving and hospitable and know how to teach. And you see that those are things you need to be working on. Like if you don't have a wife or children, then you need to be learning how to be hospitable, learning how to teach, learning how to minister to yourself. Hey, let me get in the Bible. What does the Word of God say to me? Let me get in there. And if you have a family, again, I think you need to kind of do that. I think, again, desire to be a pastor. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm not saying, but what I'm saying, and he even says it, desire to be a pastor is a noble thing. That's something, people desire to do.
Why would someone have the desire to serve and shepherd people? I think
naturally. I think there's some natural I think people have some natural things.
I think we've got, as a nation, as a culture, we've completely misused and abused the word pastor.
That's true.
And the word minister.
That's true.
Because really,
I consider you a pastor of your house.
Right, but somebody said to me, so you named your ministry, your name Ministries, right? Zach Tytus Lyles Ministries. He's like, is this your glory or is it God's glory? Like, why you put your name on it? And I'm like, yeah, because we see ministry as like a celebrity. But if you take it
for what it is, yeah.
What it is, it's like Zach Lyles, the servant.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
Like you could put that on your thing, right?
But once you put ministries behind it, it's like
because it sounds so much more like celebrity.
Which again goes back to what we were saying. I think a lot of people do because of the celebrity impact it has when you do, just like you just said, you put Zach Tytus Lyles Ministry. To that person, they're like, oh, you want the glory. Why is that your first instinct? Because you look at past, like that's how you when you look at people, like that's what you think of. Because that's like you said, you saw, and he thought that you wanted the glory.
Because you look at a lot of these pastors and they're up there like they're celebrities. They don't look like people washing feet in
because somebody didn't tell them they need to leave their house first. No, and I'm being real. Like I think that's because that's the hard thing to do, man. Like it's a hard task. Like
it takes a lot of responsibility,
bro. It takes a lot of ownership, bro. Like you cannot. This I'm saying. There's so many days that I've like sat and like cried and sit on my couch, like, because I feel like I'm failing. Because I take so much ownership in like what people feel and how they feel, and that I'm like, yo, this is a huge task, Lord. What am I supposed to do? I got 4 kids. I don't know what, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm failing. Every time I say something, it's the wrong thing. I'm saying the wrong thing. I'm doing the wrong thing. I ain't praying when I should pray. I'm not reading when Lord, how do I navigate this thing called being a husband and a father? Because this is just such a big task. Like, I mean, and some people don't even see it like that. They're like, well, I just had kids and I got a wife, but it's such a huge task. It's not something to be taken lightly. And that's just something like for myself, like even for me, you know what I'm saying? Like you just can't take it lightly. And I think a lot of people just taking it lightly, and they think, the ministry is the easier thing, and it's not. Like your children is your ministry. And this is how I believe this. Like if you got children and you got a wife, that means God called you to that. He said, Zach, I'm calling you to be, Mr. Lyles to Mrs. Lyles. That's a calling. Like when we talk about a calling, like when you got children, Zion and I'm about to say Ezekiel, Hezekiah, right? That is, he has called you to that. He has put you in charge of them people. He said, I'm putting you here. You got a responsibility. I need you to take care of these 3.
I need to take more responsibility. And especially like, when Angie was on and she was talking about she was talking about demonic stuff going down in her house at like 3 a.m. And I'm like, you can see when she's talking about that, I'm like, hell no, I'm not waking up in a 3 to rebuke demons. I'm like, what? And my wife was like, we got weird stuff going on at home, in the morning and stuff, and the kids with the bad dreams and stuff, and we got to rebuke some stuff. And then like I was feeling like restless leg syndrome, like all over my body, and turning, keeping her awake. I'm trying to sleep, and she woke me up talking about the Lord said pray in tongues and it will go away. I'm like, I'm trying to sleep, man. But it's like I need to take more responsibility for the moments that I want to rest.
No, I'm with you. I'm the same way. But I know I should be praying, and I know I want to rest. I'm like, man, this is crazy. But
it's tough. I think it takes fasting.
Yeah.
I suck at fasting.
I think it takes fasting. I think it takes a lot. I think fasting is one of them, but I think it takes fasting. It takes responsibility. It takes you to take ownership of your family. Like I think it just takes you to see it as like, Lord, okay, all right, you call me this, like I don't know. I think just like anything, it's like, I don't know. It's like you starting a podcast, like where you took ownership. Like, okay, this is like you make sure it's set up. It's no different. Like, I'm not saying it's this a podcast, but I'm saying you have to say, look, this is what God has called me. Like, I cannot take this like I have to. And I think when you feel restless and you feel like, and you think, you know what, let me get up, let me pray. Because you now have like said it to yourself, I need to take responsibility. I need to take ownership. And not even that, we need other cats around us to hold us accountable. I'm not like, that's another thing too. I think that's another key too, is like, it can't be just you alone, because you a man just like me. I need you to be like, hey, what you been doing? Yeah. Where you at? I'm like, yo, I'm fine.
Show each other what it looks like.
Right. Hey, I need you to get up. Like, you need to stop acting like a little, and you need to get up. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm being real. Like, cause we get like that. We get all pity. Oh, we know. But I need another dude to be like, look, I need you to take responsibility, take ownership. Stop whining.
Man, who says that? Who says that in 2021? Young man, take responsibility for yourself.
That's me, I guess.
You know what? As we're talking about this, I'm seeing this incredible parallel between this and politics. You gonna go there with me for a little bit?
That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So, you ever heard of the Messiah complex?
Yeah, like people that think they God, you know, like that.
Yeah, maybe not think that they're God, but think like, yo, I'm so important, I could change the world.
Oh, like that, yeah, I've heard of it, okay.
And I think in the adolescent stage, a lot of people hit that, where they're like, I could change the world, and you were talking about responsibility, and I was thinking to myself, man, when you have incredible responsibility, you actually have incredible power.
Correct.
And it made me think of Spider-Man.
With power comes great responsibility. Come on.
But really, with great responsibility comes
great power. Come on, you.
So I'm like, and it's crazy because people would rather, and here, this is where the parallel comes in.
Right, yeah.
Instead of saying, I'm gonna forsake taking care of my wife and my kids because ministry is more important.
Come on.
So you got people in the world that say, preacher, what's that? I'm a protest. I'm gonna go out there and make my voice heard.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't take responsibility for your home, for your life, for your wife, for your kids, what value does your voice have?
That's true.
What do you have to say to the world when you can't even get your home right?
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yourself right. If you ain't got a home, with yourself right. No, I think you're right. I think we're great, and you see that too. Like, people are taking the responsibility and the power, they misusing it. Like you say, they misuse it for what? For themselves. Like, it's them. And I think, like, going to politics, like, I think you see that kind of same thing. It's like, it's about me. It's about what can I get out of it? Not taking the power and the responsibility that you have as a whatever you are, Senate, I don't know, whatever, and using that for the good of the people.
Right.
Using it for your agenda, for your benefit, what you want, to make sure your opinion is heard. Like, it's not, let me think about the people.
And that's really the where Marxism and the ideological left falls apart is right there. That everybody is tempted when power comes in, to be selfish.
Yeah.
And if you really think that the government should make sure that everybody's equal, you think the people that have the power to redistribute wealth and resources are gonna say, oh, well, you know what? I want to have everybody equal, even me.
Even me, I want to be equal. No, that's right. No, that's right. I mean, because it's not again. It's the idea is like
it's like I got all this power. You bet I'm gonna have a lot. You bet I'm gonna skim off the top. I deserve this.
I worked hard for this.
Exactly.
I got myself here.
I'm here, right?
I'm here, right? I'm here now. Yeah, no, you're right. I think that's most people. That's like, but that's the same. But that's the same mentality. Like, think about the father, right? Who works hard. Oh, so hard. I deserve, like when I come home, I deserve food to be on the table. Cause I worked hard. I worked for this. That's the same mentality. Like because I worked for this, because I put food on the table, I put clothes on your back. That's what my parents used to say. I put clothes on your back, got a roof over your head. I deserve this. But here's the kicker. You know what? But we got a person named Jesus. Right? The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, sat on the throne, said, you know what? Even though I'm God, I'm going to go down here, be poor, subvert all my riches, come out here and die for you. You see? That's the paradigm shift.
I'm going to be hungry and I'm still going to minister.
There you go.
And when people need food,
I'm going to give them food.
I deserve it. I'm going to
give them. Come on. Even when I know I've been working and walking for miles and you need food, I'm gonna give you food. I'm not even gonna eat.
And what do you think Jesus did from the time he was a kid sitting in the temple to 30 years old?
Right.
You think he wasn't developing character? You think just because he's God and man at the same time doesn't mean that he had to spend time
with the Lord
building his character?
That's right. Come on.
Think about it. He could have done it at 8 years old, died on the cross.
Yes.
If he's that much God.
Yeah, he could have done.
Right?
He waited, yeah.
Just like Matrix download all the character right into his soul.
Yeah. I wish somebody could do that.
He spent the time to cultivate character.
Yeah, that would be kind of tight though. If you could just download. If I could just hook you up and, you know what I mean? Hey, you want to learn yeah, that would be tight though. Hey, you want to know how to love more?
Hey, but you know how it really works? Trials.
That's true. That's right. Consider it old joy. That's right. Trials, tribulations, all that stuff is building character. And I think that's what I'm saying. Like, so I think, again, going back to the marriage thing in your family, the confrontation, that I know we hate it as a couple. I get it. We just like, yo. But what that confrontation does, every time you make it through, you just that much stronger. You just that much closer. Because it's the trials, it's the confidence that builds you. That is the sharpening, right? You need
knowing how to fight.
That's right.
Because it's not about fighting each other if you're one.
That's right. Come on.
It's about fighting the lie or the temptation or the ideology that's trying to
kind of sneak itself in there. Yeah, no, you're right. Or try to play with your mind a little bit, like, oh no, she ain't really, you know what I mean? She ain't really about it. And like, nah,
No, but you know what? Here's the easy one. This is how to cut all strife, all fighting, all bitterness, any problem that you have in your marriage, or any relationship that you have.
You better cut. Okay, what you got? Okay.
Humble yourself.
Oh,
it's not about you. Your whole thing is fixed.
Yeah,
that's not about
you. Nah, and you know what? That's a. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The scripture says that where envy and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work, and it also says, only by pride comes contention.
Yeah.
Only by pride.
Yeah.
You can't have contention. You can't have a fight without pride there. If there's no pride, your fight's gone. There's no fight.
That's true. No, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. But you just gotta hold on to that pride though. You just be holding on to that thing though.
You gotta kill that pride.
No, you're right though. I mean, that's a good point though, but we still find ourselves in that same boat though. So how do we, you got to keep working on, I think you got to just keep chopping at it. And I mean, the pride, yeah, that's such a good point though. I can't even, that's a good, I mean, cause that's true though. It's just, I mean, even Jesus said like, humbly, like have the right mind, consider others greater than yourself. Have this mind.
What was the first sin?
I mean, it was pride. They want to be like God. Pride, you know what I mean? Want to be like God. I mean, I think, you know, she was like, hey, you know what I mean? I could be like God. Let me eat this fruit. Hey, you want some too? Hey, boom.
So in essence, pride isn't just like, oh, look at me. Pride is like, I know I have the wisdom. I know what's best. I know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, God and everything, but I know. I know the answer.
Yeah.
And I want it to go my way.
Yeah.
Like, you might have a good idea, but mine's better.
Oh, you saying it? Oh, no. No, you're right. No.
That's pride.
Yeah, that is pride. Yeah.
And like, if you would just humble yourself, you can solve every single problem that you have. Because even in the problems that it's like, you're not getting your way, if you just humble yourself, it's not about you.
You probably get
No problem.
That's true. And the thing about God is that, like, if you do that, most of the time, it works in your favor anyway.
Yeah, because he says, humble yourself, and he will lift you up.
Yeah, and it says what in Proverbs says, like, being humble is the beginning of honor.
And the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom.
Right. So I think you're right. Like, if you humble yourself, and it's not about you, there is a way. And at the end of the day, like, you're gonna get what you deserve. Like, I think sometimes we're trying to get what we deserve. We're trying to get there. And again, so I think going back to the same point, if you do the things that God requires and you focus on those areas, you don't have to worry about lifting yourself up. Like, those things will happen. Like, you don't have to try to be a pastor. You don't have to, because if you do the things that you're supposed to do, someone will see it or whatever, and God will work it. I think we don't believe in God enough to work those things. And again, going back to say, it's got to go my way, or I need to do it now. Because if I don't do it now, if I don't do it this way, then it's not going to work out, or I'm not going to get what I want. But really, if you do it His way and you do it the way God calls you to do it, especially as a husband, it'll still work out for you.
Yeah, and I think also we got a twisted idea of how the relationship is supposed to work, where, you know, I had this idea a long time ago, and I try to live by it, and my wife and I both try and live by it as much as we can, but there's so many layers of depth to this that it's like we'll forever be growing in this area of no expectations.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That's a hard one.
You can't get disappointed if you don't have
expectation. But that's so hard though, because you're gonna naturally. Now, I know what you're saying. You're right. No
features of habit.
Yeah.
So like, oh, you like dinners like
right.
You see the Office where Jim plays the little startup on the computer.
Yeah, and he kept going ding, yeah, and he commit. Yeah.
And then he presses it, ding, and he's waiting. He's like, what are you doing?
Right. No, my favorite one when he do the nickels though. In the phone when he be like, and then he put like 50 nickels in his phone, and then he took the nickels out and he smacked himself with the phone. No, but that's a good one. No, but you're right though. Like, we're creatures. Like, so someone keep doing it eventually.
So it's like, you thought you deserved that mint, Dwight. You thought you deserved it just because you got it for the last 4 days now.
Huh. So should we not do things so people don't expect it?
No, we should do things without expecting anything in return.
On both ends, I'm saying on both ends.
Yes.
But here's the thing. But if you do something, so here's the thing. Here's the kicker though, like you're saying. But let's say you do something after someone do something, then that person starts to expect it. So like.
That's where you both have to check yourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And say, I'm not putting, my only expectation on my wife is that she's faithful.
Yeah.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
And I think there's ones that I have subconsciously.
Yeah, I think we all have some subconscious.
Trying to detect.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, and even she feels like she got, like, that I have expectations sometimes. Like,
we do that with our kids too.
Didn't have dinner ready. Oh, I'm like, I don't care. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we just.
Like, I could feed myself.
Oh, we'll cook something together, whatever.
But she does, like, every chance she gets, she cooks for me.
Yeah.
And dinner, wants to have dinner ready. She's like, hey, what do you want for dinner while I'm at work? I'm like, I can't think about dinner. You can figure it out,
Yeah.
But she always wants to have it ready.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, that she just trying. I mean, I think that's her trying to say, okay, as a wife, I need to serve. So,
but even from her doing it so much, it's like she thinks that I expect it just because she's been doing it so long. And then
that's true.
If she don't have it ready, I'm like, I don't care. Hey, is dinner ready? She's like, oh, I didn't cook. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all good. I don't expect it. When it's there, cool. If it's not there, I can be myself.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I think that's a good no expectations. I think we've been trying to live by that, but that's just one of those, like you said, because some of them are built in.
But here's where the problem comes in. If you live by no expectations, without balancing it with receiving and giving the love of God,
Yeah.
then it's almost like that perversion of the gospel. Like, oh, I'm saved, forgiven, like that means I can do whatever I want.
I see what you're saying.
I'm gonna go sin.
There's no expectation, so
Right.
I don't have to do nothing.
But that's not what the gospel is.
No.
The grace is what empowers you
Yeah.
to live a godly life. So it's like not having expectations on your mate is just one part of the equation. The other part is you be love. And it's like, it's easy to think, well, since I don't have expectations, then they don't have expectations, then there's not much I have to do then.
No, it's you love, and we both love 100%. You love, like my wife, she needs to love 100%. I love 100%. It was not about having expectations, about us pursuing love, like us being loving. Like you said, like we're focused on the love aspect, not the no expectation. Well, not the no, but on the love aspect. Like, hey, we need to love. I need to be focused on loving, and whatever that means. That means I may have to do the laundry. I may have to fold the clothes. I may have to, do all these things or do whatever, or say hey, hello, whatever it is that she want. Have an encouraging word, right? Whatever we're doing to show and demonstrate our love, it's not about expectations. It's about us loving, demonstrating the love of God through us. Yeah,
And that's an important point, the love of God, because it's not the love of Zach that my wife needs.
No.
It's the love of God.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we separated about a year after we got married. And my perspective was like, I'm being the best husband that I think I could be. Like, the husband that I think you need, I'm that and more. And she was thinking on the other side, the wife that you need, I'm being that and more. But we're only being the mate that we think that the other one needs.
Yeah.
We're not even touching on what the other person actually
needs. No, you're good.
Because it's not the love of God. So it's like, it's like I'm pouring all this out and it's going nowhere.
I got you. Yeah. It's nothing. Yeah.
And then so we're both poured out empty
It's nothing.
and unfulfilled.
That's good. No, that's good. Yeah. I think that's probably most, especially if you've never seen it and somebody never told you. That's another thing too. If you don't have no experience, somebody ever told you, and you think that is the way to do it, that's the way you're gonna do it. And I think we're guilty of it too. Like, I've done the same thing. Like, my whole marriage for 14 years. I've been married almost 18 years. Like, in the beginning, same thing is like you just doing all these things, thinking. And I remember too. Like, I used to be doing, oh yeah, I'm doing like, oh yeah, and then kind of find you like, that's not really what I wanted, what I needed. Like, you just burning yourself out for the sake of just burning yourself out. I'm like doing all this. I'm like washing dishes, clean, mopping the whole, like thinking like that's what she really need. But really, I'm just doing things. Like, I'm just doing things, and I'm doing things, one, for myself, to make myself feel good, again, because I'm trying to be the best husband. So I'm like, ooh, look at me.
Brownie points.
And look at me. But then, the second thing, I'm doing stuff like,
He said, look at my brownie points.
Hey, look at me.
Look at my account. She's like, what brownie?
What points, right? What account? That thing is, but that's what the world told us, though. That's what society told. Like, oh, you got to get them points. Oh, you got to. I mean, I remember Kat saying like that's what people told you in marriage. That's what it was.
Right.
But like you said, it's not showing the love of God.
Because you don't even know what their love language is.
That's what I'm saying. But sometimes, a lot of times, like you said, a encouraging word is probably better than them dishes you just washed. But you giving a word or prayer or whatever. Here's the hard part, though: deciphering when is when and when to do it. Like,
that's where you need God.
That's the wisdom, right? God. Knowing when and where.
Yeah.
Because sometimes them dishes is the thing you need to do, but then sometimes it's not the thing. I don't know. Like, it's like you got to know when and.
My wife's top love language is gifts.
Okay.
So for me, it's like, it's so dumb. For like when I go and try to find a gift, I'm like, I don't know what the hell. Like, I'm a utility guy, so I'm like, let me get something that
she can use. What you buy, a shark vacuum or something?
Bro, I'm like, what can I get her that isn't useful that she'll like. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for something that's not useful. As a man, you know how paradoxical that is in my head.
You gotta know what she like. What she like.
Yeah, that's where I'm just like.
So you know what? So I'm gonna give you a secret. I'm about to share my secret right here.
Yeah.
All right. So I used to have this little book, right? So I had this. So this is when they talk about learning your wife and understanding. So I had this little black book, right? And I used to keep it in my pocket. And what I would do was like every time like she would say something, or she'd be like, "Oh, that was nice," or boom, I would like write it down. No, listen, I'm about to put you on game. Look, everybody that's watching, as a husband, I'm about to put you on game right now. All right. So she would see something, I'd be like, all right, cool, boom, that's good. I would go in her closet, right? And I would look at her shirt sizes. I would write them down. Look at her pants. I would write them down. Look at her shoe size. Write it down. So I had this. I wish I could find that book. And in this book, I had all the stuff she liked, her sizes, everything. So when I went to go get something, like you said, go get a gift. Basically, what I would do is I would just go to the store. I'd be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? She a small.
Someone at the store, look at this list and help me.
No, I would just go. No, I would go get a shirt. I'd be like, okay, let me get a shirt. I'd be like, okay, size small, boom. And go get the shirt, right? Basically, I would do it enough until I figured out what they were. So now, I could just go and say, oh, she wears size 8, size 7.5. I knew what she, and even in the boots, so I would so that's the way you do it. So the way you know, kind of learning your wife is if she sees something, she say something, make a note. Okay. So now, it's easy for you. I mean, easy stuff. Let me give you an example. Let's say she'd be like, yo, man, I'm gonna throw something she'd be like, man, I ain't got no more, let's say, she used chapstick. Man, I ain't got no more chapstick. Boom,
That's on the border of utility, though.
No, but it's fun. But let's just say she said that. I don't know. She may use a lot of chapstick, and she'd be like, man, I ain't got no more chapstick, right? Right. But let's just say that. Then now you could be like, oh, mental note. So now you go to the store. You go to Walmart, right? You're going to get some stuff. You go to get some food. So now you're like, oh, snap. She did say and the chapstick is on the way out the door. Hey, so now you come, boom, you give her 2 chapsticks. She like, oh, babe, that was just so, cause you was.
All right, I gotta do a little bit of research.
Yeah, you gotta do, come on, you gotta be, look, you gotta be smart about this. And I think that's sometimes again, that's that extra work, that extra step that cats don't wanna do.
Yeah, because for me, it's it's a whole different territory. Cause gifts, on my.
They're at the bottom. They're at the bottom for me too.
It's not even on there.
Mine is at the bottom. It's 2. It's number 2.
I'm you give me a gift, I'm like.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't really like gifts.
You want to return it and just give me the money.
Unless it's something I need.
Yeah, that's.
If I be like, yo, I need some underwear.
Some tools.
Right, or underwear or socks, and she buys me, I be like, oh, bet I need these socks. But if it's stuff that I don't really need, then I'm usually it take me.
I gotta find somewhere to put this.
Yeah, it take me a little minute.
How long do I have to keep this to make them feel like I wanted it?
I wouldn't say all that, but now she know that but she know that I like certain shirts or whatever. But again, I think you gotta really learn your wife. That goes back to that leadership part, right? You can't just be, you gotta be active, bro. You can't be just sitting back oh, I'm just not a gift person. That's not taking responsibility. That's not taking ownership. That's because I'm not a gift person, then I'm not gonna know how to get you a gift. No, you better become a gift person. But these are all the things that I had to deal with, too. If you're not that kind of, you gotta figure out how to be that kind of person. You gotta figure it out.
Take freaking
responsibility, young man. Take some that, and that's the same thing for me. I had to take so even for me, I can't be oh, that's just me. I just how I talk. No, I gotta figure out how to say the right thing. I can't just be oh, you gotta deal with, because that's just what I say. That's how I talk. You gonna have to know.
Humble yourself.
I gotta humble myself. Hey, you know what? Let me think for a minute. Oh, should I say this? No. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, let me say it. All right, babe. Now I gotta go in, because I gotta think about it. Boom. Hey, babe, that time when, now I gotta walk through it, step through. I remember, so I'm gonna give you another example. I remember when so long time ago, I was really bad. I used to say what all the time. I was really bad at it. I used to be what? What? That was I don't know why. It just was a bad. I mean, because that's what my parents did.
How'd you say it though?
I used to be what? What? She'll come in, yeah.
Deep voice and
yeah, I'd be what? And I didn't mean, I think it's just more of just kind of a reaction.
Yeah. Hey, babe,
and
how's your day? What?
Right, and she used to tell me yo, you gotta stop saying that make me feel, and I'm hey, okay. So my mom okay, I gotta figure how to, and I remember, man, she would call me, she'd be Craig, or she'd be babe, and I used to be I would just stop. in my tracks, like just freeze for like 10 seconds, like, yes. But I'm being real. Like I used to like stop, like I had to be like, yo, or she'd be like, babe, Craig, and I'd be like, I just walk to her. Like I wouldn't even say that, I just walk to her. Instead of like being like, what, or just try to yell something, I just go to her.
Yeah, because it's so funny because, in some male circles, they'll be like, you're whipped.
I mean, but that's...
There's a word that I
know what you're about to say. Go.
Just in case for the kids. By the way, this is not a kid's show. Don't.
No, but I know what you're saying. But right, go ahead.
All right, so...
Those are the cats that are not married anymore, but go ahead.
No, that aren't married anymore?
Yeah, but go ahead.
Damn, yeah, that's right, though. So, here's the thing. There's a difference between being the man-woman in the relationship. I'm trying to say.
I know what you're saying. I got you. Go, I got you.
There's ladies.
What is the difference between like being like someone who just like ain't saying nothing, you just getting ran over?
You just getting ran. Like, there's a difference between that and taking responsibility and humbling yourself. Because
and leading your woman, that's different.
I've seen some guys, bro, that just be like, yes, yeah, whatever you want, baby. Yeah,
no, that's
what do you want to do? Yeah, I don't care, whatever you want. I'm like, have one opinion.
So
something there's got to be something in you that's not just anything that she wants. Or do you exist, man?
You funny.
I'm like, bro, and literally the whole time I've seen this couple, I've seen this guy, he didn't exist the whole time. He was just a pet. I'm like, bro.
But then some people do it the other way too. They go to extreme and they just dominating.
Right.
Like I've seen that too, where people just dominate. The woman don't exist. Like he just dominating her. Like he just saying whatever, doing what. Like she just like he just so. I think on.
So it's like with that one, it's like either the male is like being physically abusive, aggressive, or psychologically, manipulative. Yeah. But on the other side, yes, there's women that could be really psychologically manipulative, but I've never seen it except for that situation where the woman wasn't really manipulating. She just said something. She likes to be in charge, but she wasn't like manipulating him, but he just literally had no nuts in the stroke. It wasn't there.
Yo, I mean,
I'm sorry.
But I think there's a balance though. There's a balance.
There's a balance.
It's a teamwork, team effort. So you got to know if you just being and saying stuff that just you shouldn't be saying, you got to check yourself. You know what I'm saying? I think and
that doesn't mean you're whipped. It just means that, look, if
do cats even say that anymore? Whipped? I mean, do people? I
took the other word out.
I know, but I'm just saying. But do people? I mean, and maybe I don't be around dudes like that. So. Cause dudes like that, to be honest with you, if they talking like that, most times they ain't really.
They're hoeing probably.
Right. They probably doing now. They really they in a different place. You know what I'm saying? If they talking like that, they not really trying to build no relationship or be with somebody. They ain't really trying to, because again, humble yourself. Like it is about it is about them. They are being selfish. They're not thinking about their woman or not thinking about their family as a whole. You know what I'm saying?
We can run this back a little bit too. Like just the whole idea, concept, or purpose of marriage isn't for you.
No, it's to glorify God.
It is the number one, to glorify God. Mm-hmm. Through the unification of two individual creatures.
Yes.
That may be polar opposites in some areas.
Yeah.
To become one, both people humble themselves to become one.
Yeah.
Right? That's evidence of glory.
Yeah.
Cause like it's human nature to want to do for yourself.
Yeah, it is.
Right? So it really does take a supernatural kind of love to be able to submit yourself.
Yeah, bro. It was supernatural. When I had to stop, it was, bro, trust me, it was supernatural.
You know what mine was?
What?
Sarcasm.
Oof, I can see that. Now that I can see. I can see that. That is.
Because when I'm growing up, everybody's sarcastic, and it's like
it's
just like the way we communicate, and I love it. Even when like they're sarcastic to me, and it like hurts a little bit, but it's hilarious. Like all right, you're good. That was pretty good.
Oh,
you know
wow.
What I'm saying?
Huh.
But it was like,
But she ain't get down like that.
no, to her, sarcasm was like abuse.
Oh, wow.
So like so I'm thinking like this is just a fun communication, a fun way to communicate with people. Fun, funny,
Yeah.
communicable. Like a lot of my homies, like we just clown on each other. And it's just fun. It's funny and we're not like, man, that really hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Right, I got
like,
you. Yeah.
We're a little rough, but it's like some of it's based in truth, but some of it's just we're just clowning.
Yeah.
You know? And I think there's something to that. Also, like I wrestle with my boys. They should know the limits of their physical abilities and where they should stop.
Yeah, we WWF at my house.
Yeah, so it's like there's some value to that.
Yeah.
But it's got to be at the right place at the right time.
That's true.
And with people that understand that kind of language. And so for her, it was like, she didn't grow up with sarcasm. Like if there was sarcasm, it was like
Somebody being
hurtful and rude and like, you know, so I had to adjust
How was that though?
my whole personality.
Okay, the whole become a whole nother Zach. No, that's why we went from Zachary to Zach. So you was Zachary before you went to Zach. That's what happened.
So now it's like I have to catch myself because in arguments where it's like you're not following a logical path right now. Like, let's break down what you're saying. Does it make sense? No. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's even right there, like, I'm being 100% truthful.
But it's the way you're saying
The way
it.
I'm saying it is like,
So you better just not saying nothing. So you just don't say a lot of stuff then.
so, but it's hard because it's like, I have to be like, change the way that I talk, you know? And I could be saying something 100% true, but I have to say it in like a real peaceful and loving way. You know, like, I just want you to know before I say this, I'm not coming at you.
Why you did the prep talk? Hey.
I have to though. I have to, because if I don't, then it seems like I'm attacking her. But that's where she came from, you know. So it's like, for me, and I'm like a loose cannon, bro. I'm a rough guy, you know. So it's like to become a gentle and loving, and it not be sarcastic, for it to really be real, like. I needed the compassion of God.
Yeah, that's good though. But I just show you though. But I just show you though that like, if God has called you to do something, He'll give you the power to do it. So I think that's why when you think about that though, like your whole, like that's who you are. All that sarcasm, like the God for you to change, like to, and even want to do that. I mean, that's God, right? For even you to be like, you know what, I probably shouldn't do that. To even try. I mean, that's just points. I mean, you get points just for that.
It's like it's a sacrifice because like I really value comedy, and like sarcasm is kind of a comedy lane, you know.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess depend on you. I don't think it's that comedic, but I mean, it depends on who you are. I mean,
I think it is. I don't think
it's that
no?
comical, you know. Sarcasm, because it's kind of like, I feel like when people being sarcastic, like you like.
Not just like
you trying to be smart and trying to be funny.
Not just like a-hole sarcasm, like
okay.
not like snooty like smart, you know, like.
I don't know. Okay. I'm not a sarcasm because I ain't grow with sarcasm. I just grow with a lot of yelling and people just. Well, I grew up with a lot of people like, you know, snapping on each other and stuff like that. Like people talking about you. So I used to do a lot of that, like, you know, making fun of you and stuff like that. That's how I grew up. People making fun of you, talking about. No, I'm saying they just talk about you, and then they just So that's what I've kind of grew up with. Like people constantly like talking about, like making fun of your ears, making fun of your head, making fun of your, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. And like so, I would kind of do that too. Like I would kind of do that, but then, you know, that's not.
Did it make you feel good, Craig?
What? Like, you know, like cracking jokes?
On people.
Just cracking. I mean,
yeah, but talking about somebody's ears.
They used to do it to me. They used to do it to me. Like, told them,
you had to go and do it to other people.
They do it to my, yeah. So it's kind of like that sarcasm. But that's like you said, you just talk around, being sarcastic.
That's how you grew, like that.
So like people just do that. So I think, but at the same time, that kind of, like you said, translate into now you becoming one with somebody. Like, okay, I don't like that. Don't be like, that's not how you talk to me. That's not how we get down. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or I mean, I may get a little loud, but everybody in my family is loud.
Yeah, that same here. And that's another word. She's like, you're raising your voice.
But I'm not.
I'm like, I'm just
talking. Yeah, that's
like,
right.
Wait, I'm not yelling at you.
Right,
Like,
but everybody, but see,
it sounds like I'm yelling.
but if you met my family, everybody is loud. Like if you in the crib, like everybody loud. Like my wife would tell you, like she go like my mother loud, my father, like everybody loud. Like aunts loud, everybody like. So for me, it's like the more passion they get, the louder they get. And it's not that they yelling, they're not mad at you.
They really care about what they're saying.
Right. That's so I'll be doing that too. So I'll be like, I get, you know. And I'd be like, but I'm not yelling. I'm just.
It is hard. You really gotta be humble because you're like this and that, and they're like, stop yelling at me, and I'm like, I'm not.
I'm sorry. I'm not. So what I was saying was.
Exactly.
So yeah, take a left, then take a right. No, I mean, no, you're right.
You just gotta eat that.
No, you do. No, I'm dead. So I
just gotta swallow that.
And I'm still working on that. Like she'd be like, I'm like, I'm not. You know what? Yeah, you're right. I was just raising my voice. Yeah, you're right. I get super. Yeah, you're right. I was raising my voice a little bit. I was, you know what I mean? But I was just getting hype. I was just getting pumped. I'm not yelling. I'm not. It's all passion.
She called me the other day. I was headed somewhere from work or something, on the way home or something like that. I think it was last Thursday, and the connection kept cutting out. So she's like, I can't hear you. So I start talking loud and enunciating my words, and then she's like, I can't really hear what you're saying, but I can tell that you're yelling at me now. I'm like, oh no. I hung up, I went to WhatsApp, hey baby, I know you can hear me here. I wasn't yelling at you.
See, humble. Look at you, humbling yourself. I mean, but I think, going back, it's like, and that's what, we call to do, right? We call to humble ourselves, lay ourselves down for our family. And I think if we can get that right, like we do those things right, like you talking about, I think we just have a better world, a better place. I don't know. I know that sounds kind of.
People need to do that when, like, before they start families too.
Yeah.
But you know what? What do you think about, like? Have you read John Eldridge? Like
Which one?
Heart?
No, I haven't read that one. Somebody kind of introduced me to that, but I ain't read it yet though.
So he had pretty interesting theories about like phases in a man's life. Like the first one, I think, is being the beloved son, like knowing you're loved. And like these are stages that you have to experience.
But if you don't, what happened?
I don't know.
You all messed up.
Retarded or something.
But I think, I think the first part is where we all fail at. I think we don't get the beloved son part, and then we all messed up from there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you really need these stages, apparently. But he had one that was like the cowboy phase or the adventurer phase, and like I feel like. I know there's guys that are even women, that went straight from high school to staying home with kids, and they never, and then every chance they get, they're like, okay, I got a babysitter, let's go party, or the man is like, I went from this to straight work, then straight having a family, like I need to get away sometimes.
Yeah.
And for me, like I had a wild adventure, like in my early 20s and late teens. Like I was in the
military at that time.
You didn't really, did you ever? But that could be
because I went from me and my wife, we went from 17, 18, got married, I went to the military. I was in the military at 18. I mean, it was a little while in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? But we didn't have no kids, so it was just us until we were like 21, 22. But my whole 20s, we were raising kids in our 20s. Like, I've been in my 20s. Let me see. I had my first child 22, Silas 24, 25, something like that. Yeah, I've been raising kids in my 20s and I've been married.
You know what's crazy for me?
Like 10 years.
Like, it's so funny how, like, remember I was saying last time about the demographics of the people that if you didn't have both parents in the home, then you should be this or that.
Yeah.
And I'm like not dead in jail or poor.
You're saying away, yeah.
So I'm like thinking in my head, man, thank God I'm not in that demographic. Oh shoot, I was actually in that demographic. I just didn't end up there.
Right, yeah.
And it's the same kind of idea with I forgot what I was gonna say, but it was something like I had adventure, so it's like now I don't feel like I need to go out and party and do all this stuff.
That's true.
Because I had like so much adventuring time, what I was gonna say is thinking about having kids at a young age, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm part of that, but then I'm like, I'm 30 and my youngest is 3.
Right. So you good.
Like, I didn't have kids very early. I actually did wait a while, but it didn't feel like that.
Probably because you still feel young, maybe. I don't know.
I do feel young.
That's why. I mean, because at 30,
I'm not actually 30.
I had 3 kids, I think.
I'm in my 20s.
I know. See? That's what I'm saying. Like, you still kind of young. But I think at 30, I had my first kid. A third kid, I think.
I think that, like, when I was growing up and I was seeing my dad, like, he didn't seem super young, you know, especially when I was like in my teens.
Yeah.
He seemed super young, and I'm like, dang, like, I'm older to my kids than he was to me.
Yeah, because when he's, 16, you'd be what? 40-something?
So, boy, he had me at, I think he must have been like 21 or so. And I was a second. So his first, my older sister, I think I'm not positive, he must have been like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I think. So, man, that's young. That's really young.
Hey.
And I was like, I felt like I was that young having kids. But I'm like late 20s having kids.
Hey, be responsible. Take responsibility. Hey, take ownership. That's right. Hey.
I don't think there's anything more valuable, or not valuable, but fulfilling, than to take responsibility for your home and see the fruit of it.
That's right.
I think that's the most fulfilling thing.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that, you know, there's...
And I think other people see it too. That's the thing. I think people don't think you get glory from it, or God gets the glory, but you do.
Just because how different you are from everybody else as a unit, as a household, as a family.
Right.
Like, bro, like, I've been around so many families that are a split unit. You know, even the families that are together in the home. But it's just whack.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
Just so much conflict and division and spite and bitterness and, like, even in marriages.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, man, why is it gotta be like that?
You know, because of pride,
Pride, and people don't want to take responsibility.
That's right.
They don't want to humble themselves. That's your responsibility, to humble yourself.
And I would say too, take responsibility for your. I think as a father and as a husband, take responsibility of your people's spiritual growth. So it's not just like take away, but it's all of that. It's like, okay, I'm taking responsibility for the physical being, mental, but also it's especially someone who like serves in like the kids ministry all the time. Like, it is your job to lead your children, like, you know, in their spiritual growth. Yes, I'm here to assist, help, but at the end of the day, it's your job to teach your children. Period. I mean, I would even say in school, but that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, I homeschool. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think that's another thing. But that's why a lot of teachers, you know, they get these kids that come to school because then their parents not involved. But it's our job to teach and lead our children, our family. The reason why we have, because of people are not involved in taking responsibility, taking ownership. It's the teacher's job, or it's the youth pastor's job. No, it's your responsibility.
Think it's, what would you say as far as the priorities? Do you think you should be taking care of the spiritual aspect or well-being or welfare of your wife or your kids first?
Oh, well, my wife come first. I mean, it's Jesus, my wife, you know, my kids. I mean, they last. I mean, not saying they last, but that's the order. It's my wife, then my children. Because if I take care of my wife, like the children gonna be taken care of. So that's why I think that's the priority.
That's good.
Yeah,
I think you're right there.
Yeah, because it got to be your wife and then the children, and then all of them. I mean, really, but really mainly her. But I think, you know, you're doing all of them at the same time. But really, it's her, then them.
So, what I'm doing, because, like, it's not like my home's falling apart or anything. Like, compared to a lot of marriages, we're doing great, you know. But I want it to be better, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the main area that I want to grow in, being the spiritual leader. And I may have seen that in certain ways, in certain aspects growing up, or here and now seeing it in you know, families around me. But it's hard because I've never seen I've never seen my house with the male spiritual leader doing all that he should be doing, you know? So it's like, it's hard to imagine, it's hard to see what exactly that looks like, you know? But what I'm taking responsibility to do is step back from ministry. Like we were both serving in different areas, and we're just like, we're gonna stop doing that and do it in the house.
That's good. No, that's good. That's good. I mean, you gotta, and that's what you gotta do sometimes, or stop activity, whatever you gotta do. Yeah. And I think so. I'm gonna give you a little, just a little, I guess, tip, or I guess. So
Please.
One of the things that I do, and I tell men to do, use your dinner table, man. Let your, let your dinner table be your pulpit. Like you're called to pastor your family. Let your dinner table use the one time that you're all sitting together as an opportunity to lead your family. You could read through the Bible.
Why the table though?
Think about it. I mean, the table is a symbol of grace. I mean, the table is, the supper, Last Supper, the table. Well, and the reason why too, I think it's just, as far as time, it's just very conventional. Like everybody sits at the dinner table. It's a time where you all sit together. When you think about the dinner table, when you think about, when you sit at, I don't know if you sit at the dinner table, but most people, when you sit at dinner, there's a time to talk.
This was our table. We've replaced it.
Okay, but it's a time to, talk and conversate.
Right.
And now you use a dinner table as a time to now, fellowship with your children, fellowship with your family, and cultivate and talk.
I asked you that specifically because, I saw the symbolism there, and even right here, we have a table.
Right, come on.
And it's like, and I knew I didn't know why, but I knew I had to have a table here.
Right.
So I'm like, we could talk without a table, but I'm like, we have to have a table.
Because a table symbolizes that idea of like connect. But I think, and I've heard it, like I said, like the table is a symbol of grace. It's like, when you sit at the table, it's like, it's a time where, especially when you talk about family, like it's a time where, think about all those movies, them TV shows, like they sit at the dinner table. Why? Because they know that's where all the family sit. That's where family join together. You know what's funny? In my house, I didn't grow up sitting at the dinner table.
Yeah, I didn't really have.
So think about that. You got to think about it. I never sat at the dinner table. I sat on the floor, or we ate, watched TV in front of TV. Like we never really sat at the dinner table. And I remember when me and my wife got married and we got saved, the first thing we did was sit at the dinner table. The first day I got saved, we sat at the dinner table. We didn't have no table. We was eating on the iron board. We were eating on the iron board. We had the iron board in front of us with TV in front. We would like we would put the iron board like down like level. We would eat like that. And then when we got saved, I remember the first thing we bought a table. We sat down and we said grace or whatever, and then we ate. That was like the first thing I did.
I think that there's a connection, not just symbolically but practically with communion.
Yeah, the Lord's table. Yeah, that's
the Lord's. So like, how often do you drink wine?
How often do I drink wine? Let me tell my business. Every night. I don't know. Maybe like once a week, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, or
so
maybe like 3 weeks.
How often do you eat bread?
Shoot, I eat bread all the time. I think I just had a sandwich earlier.
So how often do you eat bread with wine together?
Not very much.
Okay. So do you think Jesus was saying, whenever you eat bread and wine together, do this in remembrance of me? Or was he saying, every time you come together at the table, commune together with me and remember the blood of the new covenant and that my body was broken for you?
So every time you sit down?
Every time you sit down.
I don't think that's what he was saying, but I would say this. I think there is some, but I think he was actually implementing an actual tradition to do. I think
You think he was implementing a tradition?
Yeah, I think he was actually saying, hey, do this. I think he was saying do that. I think he was saying do that because I think it was separate. So I think it was a separate thing to do because they were eating, and I think he said, okay, now do this. Take the bread. Like, now he's giving direction. So I think there's a directive statement there to say, okay, this is what you should do to remember me. The bread and the wine, right? The wine represents the blood, the bread represents my body. I think because the representation of that calls for you to remember. Because without those two things, you don't remember. Well, not saying you don't remember. What I'm saying is like, I think he emphasized like do these two things or do these things. I think. Now I'm not saying you can't do that every time you sit at the table, but I think it is but I think the table is a reference of hey, coming together in communion and being together. But when you talk about that specific act, I think he was actually saying, hey, you should do this act. Because I think it does kind of do that for you. I think it puts the remembrance in your mind. Like, hey, the bread is the body, the blood is the wine. Let me break these two and we're going to do it. So, I mean, you can have communion at your house. I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it at your house or whatever.
No, I think you could do it anywhere, really.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying like, Craig, you're wrong. But it doesn't seem to me that Jesus would have, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think he was implementing a tradition. I think there was a.
Well, they did it in Corinthians too. So they didn't. So remember, he told them like, look, every time. Remember, he was saying like every time you had a blood. So in Corinthians 11, he was like, so he did it then, and then they were doing it, and then they did it in the Corinthians church. Remember, and then Paul addressed it, was like, hey. Every time y'all need to take the blood, and like every time you do this and you're taking communion.
But I think it was also cultural because when they got together, they would eat together, and the common thing to eat was bread and wine.
It may be. That's what I'm saying. I don't, because we don't commonly just eat bread and wine.
Right. So it's like it's not part of our culture here.
Right. So I don't know what he was. Maybe he was saying that.
I think we could take communion with Coca-Cola and some crackers.
I think you got to have bread and wine though.
I mean. Not grape juice then.
Yeah, I mean.
Hey, you know. I mean,
but I think it goes back to the conscious thing. Like if people can't drink wine, I mean, like if people don't want to, you got an ex-alcoholic, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to drink no wine, then you can't force them. So I think maybe that's why people went to grape juice. I don't know, man. People do a lot of things, man.
Yeah, it's that alcohol one's a interesting subject. Yeah. Like. If you read the Bible, you can't say that God says drinking is a sin.
No, it just says have a sober mind or whatever. And again, that could be, but I don't see like don't drink or don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's scriptures that say that strong drink isn't for kings. In Proverbs, and it says don't get drunk with wine, but be ever so filled with the Holy Spirit, right?
But that could mean
moderation.
Yeah, that could mean don't just be in here getting plastered on that Hennessy and Coke or something like that.
Yeah, I don't. I used to drink a lot. I used to drink a lot. Like I was probably an alcoholic, especially when my wife and I split up. I went down to the depths of hell in my soul.
Oh wow!
Yes, I did, and
I drink a lot in the beginning of my marriage, but
I don't. My stomach doesn't like alcohol anymore. So,
see,
every now and then socially, but nah. My body doesn't react like it used to. I think there was probably I can remember a couple times where I drank so much that it was just like I didn't feel like I felt like it took some life out of me.
Oh wow!
You know what I'm saying? Maybe not. Maybe you don't know what I'm saying. I mean, I
know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could have. But you know what's so? I think with me, like I have a high tolerance for things, for like so that's why I would drink a lot because 2 drinks I wouldn't feel it. After 3, I'm starting to feel it, and then 4 and 5, I'm like feeling good, but that's a lot of alcohol.
Yeah,
to start to feel it. So I think the amounts of alcohol I had to drink to feel it on a regular basis was just killing me.
Hey, be sober minded though. You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't want to be in my mind at all.
Hey, but Yeah. Hey, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, sorry to take you down that path. That's
you took me that
pretty
way.
depressing path. But the good news is that, man, after being depressed for such a long time, coming to the end of myself, humbling myself.
There you go.
I came to the end of myself and I said, God, I'm dying here. I can't stay here. Whether I ever get back with my wife or not. Because it was like, that's the paradigm, bro. It's like when you're married and then that gets ripped. Oh, wait, the marriage, you get ripped apart from another person. Your identity's gone. Like your whole paradigm was like, I'm one with this person. When they're gone, it's like, I'm like less than half a creature now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
That's true. I think if you, especially when you be together for somebody so long.
So it's like you gotta like, I wouldn't even want to imagine now, you know, what life would be
Probably
like.
with my wife since I was 18. I wouldn't even know what to do. I wouldn't even know myself.
I mean, I don't even want to get you to think about that.
I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't even, I'm just thinking, like, I wouldn't even know who I was. Like,
how would you cope with that? You know? So it's like,
it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it was scary, man. And that's why
you got to take responsibility and ownership, because if you don't want it to happen, then you need to be.
But it's like it could still happen with you taking full responsibility.
Not if you do it God's way. I mean, not if you do it God's way. I don't think so.
But I mean, there's probably people out there who've lost their spouse that feel like they've been doing everything the right way.
But we just talked about what you said, just because they feel like they're doing everything the right way. But are you doing it God's way? You just made that, you know, that distinction earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a difference.
Yeah.
You doing it God's way, right? We're doing it God's way. You got 100% chance of success. Doing it your way, you about 50-50. Not even that. But if you do it God's way, you 100%, you can succeed 100% of the time.
Because he made marriage.
There you go. Boom.
He is marriage.
He is married. That's what I'm saying. So 100% of the time, you do it his way, you good. You raise kids his way, you good. You do things, you work, you do things his way, you good.
Yeah, I think it's like in our culture, the way people don't even want to get married anymore. A lot of young people don't want to get married. They don't see the utility in it. They're saying, you know, people are saying, oh, there's too many people on earth anyways. It's a lie. There's not too many people on earth. Global warming, climate change thing. They want to say, oh, less people than, you know, will be. Nah, shut your mouth.
But people don't want to get married no more.
People don't want to get married. And it's like, they don't even know what marriage is for.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do have to die.
Yeah, you got to die.
You got to die. You might as well die now than die later.
That's true. Because you die now, you live forever.
Exactly. So it's like, people don't want to get married, and they think that the ones that do want to get married is like, they think it's for them.
Well,
like,
yeah.
There's so many people that are single that are like, man, I just can't. I need this kind of person. You know, I have all these standards, and if they don't, like, if you have a list of standards for the mate that you want, then you obviously think the marriage is for you.
Yeah, that's true. Like, they need to be like this tall. They got to look like this.
How about cultivate the person that, like, the at least the very minimum of what somebody else would need. Mm-hmm. Like, at least be the very minimum of what. And like, I've seen some real wicked, messed up, crazy. Not just females. I've seen the men too, but it's usually the females that be like, man, I need this kind of man that's like this, and then you're like,
I mean, dudes do it too, though. They be like, I need this kind of woman that look this way.
But you're a wicked creature, though. Like, shouldn't you figure yourself out first? Like, you're gonna suck the life out of this guy, and he's probably gonna kill himself, and then you're gonna be alone again.
Oh my gosh,
is that too far?
I mean, I think it's on both sides. I think
it is. It is on. Men do it too. They suck the light. But
they be like, I want she got to look like this. She got to be this tall. She got to be this size. She got to be this. She got to be that. Long hair, whatever. I mean, I don't know what cats like. You know what I mean?
I was kind of like that, actually.
Right. She got to be this size. Boom. She can't be this size. I mean, you're doing the same thing. You making the standards. This dude's just more physical. I mean, he just making a physical standard.
I didn't really have a list of standards, but I was just like, God, make her sexy. He did.
Yeah, you stupid.
Hey, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. He added some good stuff to me. I found a treasure.
You stupid. I mean, I don't think you funny.
But man, it's like if you're trying to get married and you have expectations and standards, it's like you probably should check yourself out because, I mean, marriage, like my guy Jesse Johnson, this diligence, a good friend from way back. Right soon after I got married, he's like, "Hey, get ready to die." I'm like, "That's a little far."
He's like, "You're wow."
Yeah. You ready to die? I was talking about I'm getting married or I just got married. He's like, "Oh yeah, you ready to die?" And I'm like,
"You ready to die?" Huh.
Die, like chill, bro. Like this is new life, But then I found out, man, you really have to die.
Yeah, you gotta die, bro.
Like if you're not willing to die,
if you ain't want to die for something that you believe in,
then how can you resurrect as one?
Come on, if you want to die, man.
If you're not willing to die, you're gonna constantly be two separate individuals pulling two different directions, and it doesn't work like that.
Gotta die.
Both of y'all gotta die.
Yeah, gotta be two caskets up in there.
Yep, and then you live.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you got any other things you want to share or say?
Shoot,
I feel like this was some really good stuff.
Oh man, I mean, I think last thing I would just say is just, man, just before we head out, I think just again for men, just take care of your house, man. Like, and if you don't, you know what I'm saying, I guess for all men, like if you just single, take care of yourself. Make sure you prepare yourself to be a man of God now. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever you don't do now, you're gonna take it into your house.
Develop some skills.
Develop some skills, right?
Yes.
And then
if you're just growing up and you're like looking for a mate, but all you do is like go out every weekend, you're not worthy.
Yeah. So I would say, and I would say for those who have family, you know what I'm saying, lead your family spiritually, mentally, physically, like, be that person. You can be humble. You know what I'm saying? I think, don't be, you gotta be a man about yours. You know what I'm saying? What they say, boys play with toys, men use tools. You know the difference? Toys is for entertainment. Tools is to build something.
That was good. You just came up with that.
I just came up with that
off
the top of my head. So, I mean, I do.
That was good.
Hey, but yeah, that's right. That. Boys use toys. I mean, men use tools. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. If you use it for something for just your entertainment, your family, your wife, they're not for you. Men use tools. They build. They create. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you got to do.
That's real.
That's real.
That's real.
That's real.
And that's where you find purpose. That's where you find fulfillment.
Yeah.
You got to build something.
No, you're right. You got to build something. And
if you don't have what it takes, God got you.
Yeah.
All you, man. There's been plenty of times where I just feel like I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough. I'm not willed enough to do what I'm called to do as a father and as a husband. But man, he's so real.
No, I felt that way today. I mean, even just like I felt that way today, like, and I, even as we were talking, like I felt that way, like, man, I can't. There's no way. Like, how can I even talk about this? Because I'm not even, fully. I mean, yeah, I'm doing what he come, but I'm not perfect. Yeah, I'm saying all this thing, but I ain't a perfect person.
And even like that's why I just want to be honest.
I failed 2 days ago. You know what I'm saying? Messed up 2 days ago. You know what I'm saying? You just, you say the wrong thing. It's like, you just like, dang, I failed again. Lord, restore, please. Yeah,
but he's good and he does it. He says, in our weakness, he's strong. It just takes us humbling ourselves, and he'll lift us up.
That's right.
He'll work it out.
Yeah, that's all I got, man. I ain't got nothing else for you.
I'm good.
I'm done, man.
I appreciate you, man.
See, this is where you got to see. This is where you got to come up with a
little thing.
I got to be like,
do I sing it?
You can sing it, or you can. I mean, you got to say something like,
sing it.
Ville out or something. You got to say something.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
You got to think about something.
Edwin, it was nice having you.
Hey, if you're watching Edwin, man, hey, missed you, bro.
Yeah. You got to come through next time. Yeah. We'll do this again for sure.
Yeah.
Season 2. Well, God bless. We're out. Peace.
There you go. See, that could have been your thing right there. Like, you gotta be like, that could have been, you gotta
I gotta think
come
about
up with an outro.